Very good morning to all of you for this workshop on human values. It is a great pleasure, as always, to join this team of learned participants. Of course, this would have been much better if we would have been doing it offline, face to face, because this content is such where it is a dialogue based. So it's not totally, informatic. It's not totally information based, where it's a one-way delivery, is equally effective. However, given the constraint, and the next best possible option is basically to do it online. So certainly there would be less effectiveness. However, you can always compensate that by giving your questions, which I would be more than happy to address. And these questions, once you will put into the question session, will be read out by our coordinator, facilitator, Yogesh Bhai, Dr. Yogesh Singh, and I would be then reflecting on that. So that would be the best, second best option. We will try to do it. The topic for today is human desires, need of self and body, classification of desires, then mixing up of needs and non-fulfillment of desires. What happens? A very important topic, very vast topic, very, a topic which affects us in day-to-day life, which creates sometimes joy, frustration, anger, and happiness, but the consistency is missing. So sometimes we are very angry. Sometimes when our desires are fulfilled, we feel good about it. At times when they do not get fulfilled or something happens which is beyond our control, we feel dejected, left out, and that's so let us understand the gamut of. So today's topic will try to cover what are our desires, what are my needs. It looks pretty difficult to look at it, because if I ask someone, can we know what are the desires of human beings, it looks infinite. As many number of people, those many number of desires, and rather more, because the one person himself desires much more, at different times frame and different needs frame. Similar is the question, can we understand the needs of human beings? And it looks like as if it is not possible. So we will try to address these questions, that seemingly impossible is not really all that impossible, and I'm sure that at the end of the session, you would feel that things are becoming, the fog is getting cleared. So let's get to the human desires. What do we mean by human desire? And so let us see, what is the meaning? What is it that you desire or anyone desires? I have put them into three brackets. So please read the first row, in the hierarchy, which says, I desire comfortable life. I want to be comfortable. And also I want to have a feeling of lovedness, that my relatives loved me, my relatives need me. Then I also have a desire to be useful. Okay, so I have put these three brackets. While we are discussing, I would encourage you to please note down or think whether there's something more than this, or do you have any other desire which does not fall into these three verticals? Now, when you want to be comfortable or comfort in life, if you don't have healthy body, all comforts become meaningless. Okay, so if you have pain somewhere, if you are diagnosed with some pathology or illness, then all the comforts looks fleeting. You know, they are no more comforts. The same house, you know, the same bed, a good clothing doesn't give you comfort. So the bottom line of comfort is a healthy body. Similarly, when I say a feeling of lovedness, it translates in day-to-day life is that with whom you work and at your home place, you are looking for trust, respect, affection, gratitude, love, care, you know, etc. So basically, these feelings or these emotions, you are if that is there, like if you have in a relationship, you don't have trust, you feel as if, you know, I'm not liked by my own relative. If they do not respect you, if they don't have affection, if they don't have gratitude, if your son doesn't have gratitude towards you, then you don't feel good about it. So this is another desire, another segment of desire. Or the third segment is you want to be useful, which comes from your knowledge, wisdom, where you feel that yes, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, and also that comes from your contribution to the society, your contribution towards nature. And this is your own assessment, not the assessment of others. Okay, when I'm saying you feel useful, if I put the whole thing into different perspective, comfort is while you are interacting with them other than human beings. Okay, when you are interacting, for example, with food, with clothing, you are interacting with car, with your body. That's where the domain when you interact with other than human beings, that is what is comfort. And the bottom line for that is healthy body. When you interact with other human beings, you know, the harmony within with other human beings is basically reflected in trust, respect, affection, gratitude, love, care, in these feelings, in these emotions. If that is rather than this, suppose you have a feeling of mistrust, rather than affection, you have hatred, you know, people, then you don't feel, this is not what you desire. You know, that's not a desirable outcome. Similarly, if you feel confused rather than, you know, or you feel that you are not useful, no one feels as if you are needed in the family, in the society, then also you feel not very happy, not very elated. So these are the desires of any human being. Now, the first one, which is the one which is related to comfort, is the source of temporary happiness. And the second one, in the relationship, if you have these fulfilling values, then this gives a long lasting happiness. And the third one, when you feel you are useful to the society, useful to the family, useful for your kids, for your wife, for your parents, that feeling of being purposeful in life, doing something meaningful in life, which is needed by others, that gives a continuity of happiness. So finally, if you sum up all human desires are seeking happiness. This must have been discussed, I think, in the earlier 2 days session. So finally, if you look at the final outcome of these desires, is basically happiness. And when I say happiness, happiness, peace, contentment, bliss, happiness is being used as a general gamut for these synonyms here. However, if we only focus on one kind of desire, which is comfort, and work for that, then we get in pieces, bits and pieces, temporary happiness. But however, a human being is looking for continuity of happiness and not in bits and pieces. This does not suffice for human beings. So to sum up, the desires are in these three domains while I interact with material world or the world other than human beings, and when I interact with other human beings, and when I interact with myself, that is the third domain, when I am alone, sitting alone, whether I feel worthy enough. And these three domains define the human desires. What is happening normally that we get confused with these desires and we focus on one desire much more. If we look at the 24 hours of our, how we are using our time, then we will find that most of the time is being used to get comforts in life. Okay, owning a big house, owning a good car, buying a house in good locality, throwing a marriage party or a birthday parties in in good restaurants. So most of it is highly focused on one domain, and that's does not satisfy us. That's why even after having a good party, buying a good house, having a good car, it gives us a fleeting moment of joy. But after that, very soon that gets settled in and taken for, as if it is a given a priori, and then we feel again dejected. The second and third column is not getting fulfilled. Okay, so this is, we'll come back to this again while we'll talk about mismatch of desires. Now, another very important topic for today, and very crucial topic. What are my needs? What are human needs? And I have put two columns here again. One column, needs which can be touched, felt, with senses. That's what I call physical needs. And another kind of need which are non-material in nature. Okay, which cannot be smelled, felt. So the physical needs we all know, very famous roti, kapda and makan. You need housing, you need food, you need good clothing. Now that has been enhanced, you need a good car, mobile, TV, car, scooter, blah blah. So basically a tele movement item. The first three, which is housing, food and clothing, is basically for maintaining a body, a healthy body, which I said a part of comfort. And the other three, car, mobile, TV, is basically for having a tele movement by car or knowing what is happening at a distance through television, through mobile, without making physical movement. So this is for fulfilling the social needs, the need of the society. Now, along with that, in material need, to be able to do that, you need unpolluted environment, because this was earlier was never said, because that was not the need, while our ancestors talked about this. But now this has become a because we have polluted the environment so much that this has become another requirement, which was earlier kind of taken for granted, is no more now taken for granted. So you need good potable water, which is getting in scarcity. People say now maybe the next world war happen on that. and you need a good air to breathe. Those our friends, those who are in metros, especially Delhi and around NCR area, they understand the value of what is the value of purified or unpolluted air is. So this is one set of needs which we all need. Okay, there's another set of need. You need friends. Okay, you need good relationships. You need peace of mind. You need contentment, satisfaction, love, being loved, affection, knowledge. Now I say these are non-material. Non-material in the sense you cannot touch and feel. You can touch the friend, but then you are not looking in that piece of person, but the values in that friend, like the trust. He is always there for you. That feeling that there is someone in need I have, and that's the non-material part of it. You, even if the friend is not there with you, you enjoy that relationship. So this is something which is a non-material part of it, though it is present in the form of it is manifested through someone. Like when your son says that Papa or Mama, you have done great work for me. I salute you. You feel elated. Now he has not given you anything in material form. Like if he brings a good watch for you as a gift, you also feel elated. So while he presents you a watch or a mobile phone from his say first salary, you feel good about it. So you feel good about two things. One is the material part of it, which is a watch given by him, or he throws a party in your 50th birthday, a grand party. You feel good about that part. He has given a party, but then you also feel a non-material part that, wow, he cared. He remembered my birthday. He planned for it. Now that these are two different aspects. One is the material aspects. If someone offers you, a loved one, only a watch
Ajay
or a
ji,
mobile. हाँ जी, आवाज आ रही भाई?
your slides are not changing. I think you have put it in full screen mode.
Is it not changing now?
No.
Oh, so it is
उसको
still on that
minimize
slide?
mode में ही करना पड़ेगा वो.
Oh, okay. That's what I did. I did it. Okay. Now, suppose is it changing now?
Yes, now it is
Oh,
changing.
okay. Good. So I was talking about the human needs. Voice is clear, right, Yogesh bhai?
Yes.
So if you get any, I'll stop maybe after another 7-8 minutes, and then we will have 5-10 minutes of queries, and then I'll continue again. So I'll cover these two slides first, and then we will have. So I'll encourage participants to please reflect. So what I was saying is there are two types of human needs. When we talk about human needs, you were listening to me, but now you can see the slides as well. There's a material aspect of need and there's a non-material aspect of need. And non-material aspect is the one which is you see in a relationship that someone who cares for you, someone who has an affection towards you. Now this is a non-material part. Similarly, knowledge is a non-material. You can't touch and with senses, but you feel good about it. You feel the peace of mind. It's not something, or the happiness is not something which is material part of it. So there are two types of need, and we are emphasizing it because there are two different entities in a human being. One is a non-physical entity of our identity, which is looking for non-physical aspects, or it enjoys that non-physical aspects. And another part of a human being is the human body, which needs a physical aspect. So when I say why there are two types of human needs, because basically inherently there are two different things in a human being whose needs are being manifested by a human being. And if you look at, that's what we call, one is the body and another is the self. So the material aspect is caters to the bodily need of the self, and the non-material aspects takes care of the self. So when I say I need, to be cared, and I need food. Now, food is required for my fulfilling the need of body, and I need to be cared. I want to get loved. I want peace of mind. I want a good relationship. I want trustworthy people around me. This is a non-physical need, which is equally a need. And and most often we take it for granted, and when we realize, we only realize the absence of it. So if someone hates us, someone gets angry, then I realize, I go through the agony of it. But while things are okay, I take it for granted because I don't have a vision normally to be able to feel the harmony. So I see only ups and down. So or basically an excited state is the one which human beings are aware of. So when something goes wrong, then also I realize it. When something gets, something exciting happens, then also we recognize. But the natural thing which is happening, the background, in things which are in the background, that we haven't developed that vision to be able to appreciate that. So these non-material things are equally important, rather requires in continuity. I ask one very common question. In fact, the self is more important than the body. If we have to prioritize between these two. And the basis of my saying it, that when the self is not happy, or you have heard some news which is not very good news, and you are offered with this very tasty food, you suddenly realize that taste is gone. You are not enjoying it. The same food is not being enjoyed because the self is preoccupied with some thoughts which are not as per his desire. Something has gone wrong, either in office, at home, with some near and dear ones. And then suddenly you feel that the same kind of food, the same clothes, same car, same party, which you used to enjoy normally, are now unable to enjoy. So this non-physical part, or the need of self, is on a primary focus. Okay, is at a higher priority. In fact, with this house, food, clothing, you get that sense of healthiness, a sense of belongingness. That is what you are enjoying. So if you see human needs, there's a need of self, and there's a need of body. And what is happening is, it is the need of self. So this is the need of body, if I write here. And similarly, this is what I am calling is the need of self, or I. Okay. So I have covered now two things: the human desires and the human needs. And then we will go a bit in depth, that I is different than body. And there are two aspects of the human being. While we will be calling about this I, we also refer this as, call it, say, Jivan, or the self, or I, and body. I'll pause here and ask Yogesh bhai if there are any reflections or any queries up to this end. Yogesh bhai? Hello. Yogesh bhai, can you hear me?
Yes, one question has come. Material and non-material both are different, but non-material purely depend on materials. Is it possible to have non-material without material? Because if we don't give materials, both of time, non-material won't come. What is your suggestion on this?
Yes.
I will send in chat also.
Yes, I think very true. what is being said is very true. Most of it in our present situation, this is how it happens, that because all non-material is being manifested through some material. Okay, so I would say your observation is very correct. Okay, that if you have to have a feeling of being cared, it will have a material aspect. So there would be someone, either your son, your daughter, your parents, your spouse, your employee, your employer. So this is very true. Or it will come out of your own knowledge. Okay, but then you would be there. So non-material cannot get manifested without a material. Okay, this is very true. The material could be you yourself. Okay, you yourself can, like the knowledge. When you look at the knowledge, you don't need anything else to feel happy. So, but then you have to be there, which is a given kind of a set. True. योगेश भाई बिल्कुल ठीक है.
Yes. Okay, there is one closely related question. How do you draw a line on your material needs?
Very important. I think we will come to that. So in the course of the discussion, and if that doesn't get cleared even then we will take this question. So this is coming. So you are very good. So the participant is asking the question which is already coming in the session. Good. If there's no more question, then I'll move on.
There are few more questions. Please, how to differentiate between self and identity?
Self only has got identity. So self and identity is one and the same, because you have your own identity. Okay, the good question would be another, good means a corollary of that would be how to differentiate between self and body. Okay, so if I ask you or the participants, who listens, do you listen with your ears or do you see with your eyes? Most of the time, if you have not paid much attention, your answer would be yes, I listen through my ears, I see through my eyes. However, if you would notice that when I have been talking, say around 15-20 minutes, you have not been able to listen everything, because at times when your attention moved on to something else, you stopped listening to me, though the noise or the voice was falling on your eardrum. So it is not that you listen to me through your ears. At times when your attention goes somewhere else, the laptop is in front of you, or if you are seeing the whole program on a mobile, you don't see the slides. Suddenly you start imagining something else, where your attention goes. So this is a misnomer that you listen through ears or you see through eyes. You certainly use ear and eyes, but provided you want to listen to it, and if you have an attention towards it. So it is the self who listens. It is the self which sees. So if the self is gone to something else, its attention is moved on, then you don't listen, you don't see, though it may be in front of your eyes. So however, if you put a camera there, or if you put a recorder, all things are being recorded, but it is not being recorded by you, because your attention has moved on. And that's the power. The self sees more than what is visible. See, I'm explaining something, relationship. When I say mother, your daughter, a car, a house, you start imagining without having it. So you see things without they are available physically, because the imagination, power of imagination is of the self, and you can enlarge the same thing, you can reduce the same thing. So you can make the car, though physically car is of a particular size, you can make it bigger, you can reduce it, you can amplify it, Same thing happens in relationship. You can sometimes amplify your negative consequences. Oh my God, that in the party you went to a party and the host, was busy in something, and though his eyes were seeing you, but he didn't respond because it is not eyes that sees. He was busy or thinking something else, some arrangement, and you felt suddenly rejected. Oh my God, this guy has called me. I came all the way, 50 kilometers after driving, and he hasn't noticed me. So, and then you amplify the negative things. Why did he do that? Does he want to sort of humiliate me? So what is happening is so this is something happening in your self. That's what I'm calling the self. So self and body are two different aspects. But when you say your own identity, yes, it is the identity which is, I'll cover it in the later section. It is the identity which is being made by you, by your own self, through your thoughts, your desires, your beliefs. This is what is making your identity. So self and identity are one and the same thing, but you can change, the self gets evolved. The whole course is basically evolution of the self, or evolution of your identity. So very good, excellent. I think very good observations. I am very happy with the kind of audience and the kind of queries. Any other query, Yogesh bhai? Yogesh bhai, any other query?
Okay, there are some more small query that those will be addressed during the lecture. Okay.
You can just read out so that I'll cover that. If you can just read out.
Okay, I will read. Can we be happy without fulfilling the basic needs?
Answer is
another question.
And then this is a good question. Answer is no. Very simple answer is no.
Okay. Okay, one more question. Can we have the source or reference for these lectures? They are
yes.
Someone is asking about reference.
Excellent, excellent. The source is Madhyast Darshan. Okay, and let me write here. If you go to jvidya.com, yeah, jvidya.com, you can see the references. So while I am typing, it is visible, right?
Yes, so yes.
You can go to this website, and source is Madhyast Darshan. So very good query. Let me write the source.
I will circulate.
No, that is okay. So this is in short. You go onto the website and you will be able to see that. Excellent. Now coming to how these needs gets fulfilled. As Yogesh bhai said, this is coming in the next slide. So the good thing is, I mean, it is a sign of a very good participation is that participants ask, those queries which are anyway going to come there. So it means that you are seeing in future, or you are already aligning your thoughts that what is next. So this queries are coming naturally. Excellent. Now, how these needs gets fulfilled, as someone has asked. So the material needs by physical resources. Okay, and one need skills, need to participate in, someone needs to produce things, and these material needs are required from time to time, like food. You can't eat 24/7. You need that, maybe 5 times a day, 3 times a day. So you need it from time to time. Similar is the case with all the material needs. Then there are non-material needs, which gets fulfilled by knowledge and in relationship between human to human beings. So this is the sources of their fulfillment. One source for non-material need is in relationships. Someone has asked, yes, there has to be someone, and by knowledge, that is something where you alone is required. That's all, nothing more than that. And the next question which came, the answer lies here. Both types of needs are important. And both these needs are required to be fulfilled. So someone has said that whether without getting fulfilled of material needs, can I be happy? That's what I said. The answer is no. Okay, because there are two different needs. Okay, and both are equally important. So we should not ignore the one on the basis of other. They have higher priorities though. Okay. So both these needs are required to be fulfilled, and these are not replacement of one another. So you can't say that, having good feed, I'll feel peace of mind. That's not going to happen. And just having peace of mind will not, you cannot get rid of hunger, so if you go, suppose I come to your house, you invite me, and then we keep on talking good things. But if I am thirsty, then my thirst will only get satiated with a glass of water. So you say, no, I'll not give you a glass of water. We'll talk more. I'll appreciate you much more, that Ajay bhai, you are such a great person. But then that is not going to be fulfilled. So in that sense, both these needs are important, and they have different sources of fulfillment, and these are not replacement of one another. Okay, this is the problem, happens when we try to think that one need can be fulfilled by the other. Either ways, if you feel that my material needs, can this be fulfilled by non-material things? Answer is no. Can my non-material needs can be fulfilled by material things? Answer is again no. And now that's what leads to the next topic, which is very, very important topic, which is called mixing up of needs. And that's the problem we face today. Material needs are limited and quantifiable. How much food you can eat in a day, half a kg. There's a thumb rule that if in a house there are 4 members, for a year you need roughly 400 kgs of wheat. I mean, I'm talking of North Indian people. Otherwise, maybe in South India you need that much of rice. Okay, so the thumb rule is that you need roughly 1 kg of food in a day. Okay, so half a kg, when I say 100 kgs of wheat or rice in a year, means around 300 gram. Then you will be supplementing it with vegetables, with pulses, and with other items, fruits. So roughly in a day, so what I'm saying is that it is limited and it can be quantified. So material needs are limited. These can be quantified. Someone was asking, so we will get the answer here now, that how to, can this be, how to get the limit on it. They are by default limited. Okay. However, if you look at the non-material needs, these are not quantifiable. These are qualifiable. These are qualitative in nature. And these needs you need on a continuous basis, and you can't say like, how much of happiness or how much of peace of mind, 1 kg peace of mind and 5 liters of peace, because this cannot be quantified. This is qualitative. Either you have it or you don't have it. Okay, or you have it in gray. Sometimes we have it, sometimes we miss it. So there's a gray zone, So non-material needs are qualitative in nature. You need it in continuous basis. Why I say you need it on continuous basis? That even while you are sleeping and in your dream, someone disrespects you, you feel discomfortable. So you don't want that, like food, you want 5 times a day. You don't need only 5 times a day appreciation, and rest of the time, someone can abuse you. No, you want that into the background. So that way, if you look at it, non-material needs are qualitative and required on a continuous basis. And their ways of fulfillment are different, as we have just talked about. If we mix these up, we run into trouble. And that's where the whole, what is the meaning of mixing up? That we try to get it fulfilled through different means. So let us for more clarity, let us come to that. What happens when we mix up? Now look at the food at home versus food in party. We normally at home eat simple food, maybe 300 days a year. Simple food means pulses, vegetables, fruits, chapati. But what happens when you have to give a marriage party of your son? What happens when you have to throw a birthday party of your son, or you have to celebrate your anniversary? What happens to the food? You suddenly it becomes so much of variety is needed. Why? Have you thought of it? Just give it a thought. Why at party you need so much of variety? Are you calling those people those who have never eaten in their life? That's not the case. But then why do you have so much of variety? Because it is now the food is no more food. Now the food is linked with your status. You want to gain respect. You want to get appreciated for the kind of food you have arranged in your party. Now what has happened? This is now mixing up. The domain is in the second domain. Okay, respect, appreciation. This is a non-physical need. You want to get it through physical means, through variety of food. Now that's once that gets mixed up, since this non-material need is continuous, cannot be quantified, here with the variety of food, by the quantitative nature of things, you want to fulfill it, and that's where you run into trouble. Now it becomes very difficult to decide the menu, and for hours and hours, discussions keeps on happening on that. Similarly, look at the clothing at home versus clothing in functions. Normally, if I ask you, do you have enough clothes at your home? You feel that the wardrobes are full. You don't have place. My wife uses my wardrobe also for keeping her clothes because there's so many in number. But if there's a marriage of my brother-in-law, or suddenly she feels she doesn't have clothes for that function. What is happening? What has gone wrong? Because here now you are not putting on like the food in normal sense, you are eating for your health, taste and health put together. Here now clothes are not to cover yourself, or save yourself from the heat or the cold or the wind, but you need it to get attention. So not fulfilled, and that's where the mixing up happens. And as soon as the mixing happens, you run into you don't know what to do. Happens with mobile you normally use for, if you want appreciation through that, then you need a mobile model, which treated by your colleagues. Then you want to change your DP on a regular basis, get noticed. So this get non, and you want to fulfill through physical things, and that's where the problem is. Similarly, house, when you want to buy a house, you want to build a house, a 2 BHK, because or with the age, I see normally when people start aging, we get to 55, 60, and then actually the money comes to the house, which is a problem. Itself is a problem. But then they want to have a good post localities, a big house, because now house is not for your living there, or not to fulfill their physical, but You are trying to fulfill your non-material needs, and that's where the mixing up happens. So in a sense, what is happening in mixing up? Trying to get respect from material things, or trying to fulfill non-material need with material things, and that's a big goof up. Okay, a big problem. And that's where, when someone asked that I am unable to decide my needs, this, when you mix up, it becomes difficult to decide the needs, because they are not interchangeable. They cannot be fulfilled by this one need the other, and so there are different ways to fulfill them. Okay, so someone asked me, in the earlier session, yes, you need physical things to fulfill the non-physical needs, but then those domains are different. So what you need in the relationship, if you want acknowledgement, if you want gratitude, then how it is to be fulfilled? It will get fulfilled if you are caring to the other. Okay, if you are giving something to the other in the form of help, support. So there are different ways. So when you go in the party by wearing very expensive cloth, it's not that someone appreciates, because he's may not, he's involved in his own design. He may say it, but he have even envy, or but then you will get noticed always if you have supported the person in the time of need. So if I ask you another question, suppose you are going to a party and you see someone with very expensive clothes, what happens to you? Do you appreciate him? By bottom, do you feel gratitude towards that guy? And answer you will find no, that's not the case. Or let me do an exercise now. This is a good time to have a 2-minute exercise. Okay, so exercise is, remember 2 names. Okay, everyone has to remember 2 names of people to whom you respect. Okay, exercise clear? You have to remember 2 names to whom you respect. The criteria is they should be the ones to whom you know. When I say this criteria, why? I don't want you to say that I respect Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King, because you haven't met them. Okay, so I want you to remember those 2 names to whom you respect, to whom you know you have met. Okay, and for this particular exercise, they should not be from your family members. They should not be family members. For this exercise, you can always have respect for your parents, for your spouse, for your brother, but for this exercise, I want to limit that. Please remember and note down mentally, may not be on piece of paper. You can always write down, because self has that power to write down without using pen and paper. So please note those 2 names to whom you respect. They should be ones, those who you know you have met, and in this exercise they should not be your family members. I'll give you 1 minute. Now, since you have noted down, without asking you, I can say you don't respect them because they have got a lot of money. They may be having a lot of money. That's not a disclaimer, or this does not mean that if people have money, you don't respect. They may be having a lot of money, but the reason for your respecting them is not money. You don't see their bank balance and then respect. Okay. Similarly, you don't respect them because of their looks. Okay, that they look very handsome or beautiful, and so you respect. They may be very handsome or beautiful, by the way. Okay, they may be very handsome and beautiful, but that is not the reason for your respecting them. Okay. Similarly, you don't respect them because of their position. Okay. They may be very high positions, but your respect is not coming out of that. You don't respect them because they own a big car. Okay. Or they own a big house. They may be having that. Again, I'm about again and again putting that, disclaimer. Why is that true? So you can ask me the question. If I would be more than happy to, listen to your views as well. If someone respects someone because of money, looks, position, house, and car. I have done this exercise with more than few thousand people, and answer is always that this is not true. They may be having all these features. Then what is it that you respect? So you respect because they have helped you in time of need. And mostly 70% of the time, I find that the names people write, 70% of the names are teachers. Okay, you respect your teachers. And then surprisingly, when you don't respect because of these reasons, most of us believe that they will get respected in the family, in the society, once they will have lot of money. Okay, once they will have a big position, once they will own a big house. How? Because this is the misnomer. However, you don't do that. You respect to the people when to those who have helped you, who have given you some suggestions, some advice when you needed it. And that's how this is working. So, and most of us being teachers feel that they are not IAS, IPS, they are not politicians, and how can I command respect? However, if you look at the fact is totally other way around. Teachers gets respected, okay, because they are the one those who can make changes in the lives of others. If you have touched the life of people in positive ways, in meaningful ways, even in your dreams, you would respect them. So I like this example very much. Suppose you are doing something which you feel is not good activity to be done, for example, smoking, and you realize that these two names which you have remembered is someone of them is coming, and you suddenly see him coming towards you, and then you hide your, cigarette, or you throw it off. Why? Out of respect. Even when you are dreaming that you are doing something which is not good activity, and you dream that the person is coming, and so what I'm saying is, even in dream you respect. And we complain today that students do not respect us because we are not touching their lives in meaningful ways. If you touch their lives, if you support them, if you help them while they are at the crossroads, you give them advice, you listen to them, then the respect is very natural. It's very natural to human beings. Okay, so good. I would be more than happy to listen to your query. So I can take another break of for Q&A session, another 5-7 minutes before I go on to the next slides. So what I have covered, that both types of needs are important, and mixing of needs creates a lot of issues. Okay. And another I have done, just given you an example of actual example, that the non-material need, for example, I have taken respect, it does not come because of the physical things. So I just draw a stark difference between the two, and that comes through different ways. Okay, Yogesh bhai.
Yes. Okay. So one question: desires lead to sorrow. If we don't have any desire, then we cannot progress in our profession. Please comment.
Your voice was getting cut in between. Can you repeat again?
Desire leads to sorrow. If we don't have any desire, then we cannot progress in our profession. Please comment.
Very good. Excellent. 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 Very, very good question. First of all, does not lead to sorrow. Okay. And this brings me to another very important exercise. People say in relationship, what is the biggest problem in relationship? Expectations is the biggest problem in relationship. And because of the expectations, there is a problem in relationship. And I say, no, this is wrong. Expectation is not the problem. Similarly, desire is not the problem. Okay. It is not the desire is not a problem. We don't know what to desire, or we don't know how to fulfill that desire. So desire is not a problem. Problem is, as I said, we are desiring to get appreciation, respect, gratitude, care, love, affection, and we are, how we want to fulfill that? We want to fulfill that through material. So we are amassing a lot of money, a lot of wealth, and in the career path, we want to grow, jump the ladder. And in the process, we make many casualties, and we don't care because why? What I feel that once I become a director, once I will become a principal, once I'll own my own school, then I will have respect. So it is not the desire which is a problem. So desire is not a problem. Okay. The problem is we don't know what to desire. Number one. Number two, how to fulfill that desire. We don't know that the design. If we know these two, then there is no problem. So it is not the desire which is a problem. It is we don't know how to rightfully fulfill that desire, how to get the desired outcome, what acts and behaviors are required to get the desired outcome. Similarly, in relationship, it is not the expectation is not a problem. Okay, we don't know what to expect and how that expectation will be fulfilled. This is the, if we know this, then there is no problem at all. So it is good. We must desire, and we must desire to grow. We must desire to, have good positions. We must desire to be successful in life. We must desire to be a contributor in the society. As I said, there are 3 types of desires. So the desire, let me get to the first slide. The desire to get loved, desire to command respect, affection, gratitude, trust is very good. Desire to have healthy body or comforts in life is good. But then how it gets fulfilled, these are 2 different domains. So this is where we don't know how to fulfill that. And we are always focusing only in one part and then feeling that the other is not getting fulfilled. And then we say that desiring is a problem. But desiring is not a problem at all. Okay. Good. And growth is not a problem. We should know what is the meaning of growth. Okay. And the real growth lies in fulfilled relationship, in wisdom, in fulfilling our non-material needs besides material needs. And once you know these 2 different domains, then when someone was asking, material needs become already limited. So material, what is the limit of material needs? Then the material needs limit comes having healthy body for myself and for my near and dear ones, or for my relatives to feed them or to keep them healthy is our responsibility, and that's the limit. Okay, so because material thing can at most give healthy body, not more than that. All kind of material can only give that much. So all material needs at the most can give healthy body to you and to your near and dear ones. That is the limit, and that's what defines. Then rest of the requirement are non-physical. Okay, and they get fulfilled through different ways, by touching people's life in positive manner, and for which you need how to the resolution, how to fulfill that desire, and how to fulfill those expectations, and for that you need or we'll come to that. So we are coming to those two slides. Any other question, Yogesh bhai?
Okay. The students have already decided not to respect the teachers. So how do we change this?
Wow, this is very good question. you know, it looks like, we have already have concluded without observations. It looks like that. When I say if someone has helped you, it is natural design that you will be full of gratitude even in your dreams. So if you are touching your students in positive manner, you are touching their lives in positive ways, it is not possible that they will not respect you. This is not a, this is impossibility. I mean, this can't happen, because if I ask you a question, someone who helps you, someone who supports you in the time of need emotionally, or helps you to find out, or advises, while you are at that hour, need of the hour, do you respect, or you have pre-decided that I will not respect what whatever may happen? If you can't do that, how is you have, we have been a student, okay, and you remember, I remember my teachers, I remember my IIT Delhi teachers, those who have been very caring, they kept their doors open, come for any problem, and I say now roughly 28 years now, and I still talk to them, call them, of course, on some occasions, and want to see them, want to visit them. Though physical things may happen, I might have not visited for say 10 years now, or someone, but that connect is still there. I still, when I remember, I feel joy. So I get full of respect for them. So this is very natural. Respecting is natural. Okay. And so you can't simply decide, or you can't say that the students have already decided. That's not possible. Though scolded me, beaten me at times, but I could see their intent. They wanted me to shine. They wanted me to, learn. And that see, the beauty of human beings is that the self is that it can see the non-material aspect behind the material aspect. So you can read intentions. Okay. So if you are really doing positive for your students, and you can see that. Okay. This would be very visible to you once. There's nothing like that. Today's, we say today's students. This is another problem. We say the generation gap. This is another problem. We say it is a problem of generation gap. Okay. I say this is not true, because two brothers belong to the same generation. Okay. Two sisters belongs to the same generation. Okay. And especially at home, the wives of both brothers, Devrani and Jethani, they belong to the same generation. Nanad and Bhabhi, sister-in-law, and they belong to the same generation. Why they are having problems? Is it because of the generation gap? No, it is the gap in beliefs. Okay, not generations. Okay, it is lack of knowledge. That is the problem. So that's what I'm saying. If we have wrong desires and want to fulfill it differently, so what we do when two brothers are not in a position to live in harmony, we say, okay, you live in two different houses, and then they still quarrel, because the problem was not house, problem was lack of knowledge. The kind of belief system they are carrying does not match with the reality. So similarly, we are carrying this belief that today's students, our days we were very good students. Now today's students, they don't respect. That's not true. That's not found, because you can see that your kid, let take an example, your own kid. Okay, there might be in the group people, those who have a small kid of 5 years, 3 years, 8 years, how much does he respect his teacher? Too much. If you say that no, this spelling of trust is not, your madam has told you wrongly, right spelling is this, and he will not believe, no, my teacher is right, and he will only verify, he or she will verify with their teacher. If teacher says yes, by a mistake you corrected, then only she or he is going to correct. They're not going to listen. So they pay much more attention to teacher rather than to parents. Okay, this is a very design, because the knowledge from wherever the knowledge is coming, they are respected. So knowledge is always respected. It is by default design of a human being. Okay, बढ़िया. Any other question? Yogesh bhai, any other question?
Yes. Sir, it is hard to control desire and differentiate it from need.
Desire and needs they are all go hand in hand, because all desires are basically to fulfill some need. So it is good. You are absolutely right. Desires and needs are hand in gloves. All desires are to fulfill one or the other need. So there's no need to differentiate between the two. A need to fulfill now becomes desire. So there are three types of needs: sublime, or medium type needs, and the needs which become priority. The needs which becomes on a higher priority becomes desire. Okay. Any other question?
One last question. There are number of needs. Is there any point at which a person can become satisfied? If yes, then how to reach at that point?
This is the same question which we are trying to address. Yes, a person becomes satisfied, because satisfaction is the basic desire, and this is possible. Okay, now when I say one can get satisfied, that does not mean, and I repeat it, that does not mean that he will not have material needs, because both the needs are important. So when someone is satisfied here or contented, which I have written in non-physical need, does not mean then now he will stop eating, or he will not need a house, he will not need a car, he will not need a mobile, he will not need clothing. Okay, so please, again and again I'm saying, a satisfied man or a peaceful person, becomes much more useful to the society. Okay, and he will keep on working as per his age and circumstances, and would require material needs. These are two different disjoint set of needs. Okay, so yes, it is possible. When I say satisfaction, this will come from knowledge, fulfilling relationship, fulfilling, or helping others, supporting others, and that can only happen once our needs are fulfilled. So what will happen for such a person? These needs will become very limited, because he knows now to keep my body and my near and dear one's body healthy, and then you can, this will get limited, but this domain of supporting others will expand. So he will become much important, much a bigger contributor to the society. Okay, he'll become a much more bigger contributor to the nature or for others, and he will be the one who will adding wisdom, knowledge. So this is what happens. So when you say someone gets satisfied, that's what happens. His domain flips. Okay, so where he was putting, say, maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours to meet his physical needs, now he realizes that my house is big enough. Yeah, it is good enough for my needs. Car is good enough. normally 10 to 15 years of work required. Nowadays a good house is costing say 20 lakh, 30 lakh, and the savings one can do per year maybe 2 lakhs. So which means your 10 years are that normally we are just putting our whole life into expanding our size of our house, okay, or changing it from one car to another, or having two houses or two plots, and thinking that my non-material need will get fulfilled, my kids will respect me, my friends will respect me. Wow, what a man, he has got 4 houses. But as we did exercise, that we don't respect, because he has got a big house, a lot of money in his. So what is happening is at the end we feel cheated, or deserted. Yeah, what happens? My life has gone waste. I did this in the hope that this outcome will happen, and that desire has not got fulfilled, and that's where the problem is coming up. So a satisfaction is possible. It is desirable, possible, going to happen, that we can live with full of satisfaction. In that, once that state comes, our physical needs gets limited to the maintenance of our healthy body and to be able to serve the society and our near and dear ones. Very good. Excellent. I am very happy with the kind of participation. Now, since time is only now 15 minutes left, I'll just two more. I mean, I don't have many slides, 18, so I'm already at around 12. Just cover that, and then we will take question and answer again. ठीक है योगेश भाई? Is that okay?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay. Badhiya. Good. So now coming to non-fulfillment of desires, what happens? By mixing up these desires, needs do not get fulfilled. What happens when we mix up these desires? We predominantly work on the fulfillment of physical needs, expecting that the non-material needs will get fulfilled, but that doesn't happen. One thinks probably, and look at the conclusion. Look at the conclusion. When we wrongly conclude, that my need of respect, gratitude, care, loveness is not getting fulfilled because I have less. I don't have good clothing. Okay, I don't have a big house, and that's the wrong conclusion. Okay. And so what happens? As a result, we keep on changing these. As a result, oh my God, people don't respect me. I should buy a bigger house. I should change my car now. Okay, I should quit this job, get to a better job, which is, has a better career progression. And that's what we keep on doing. And this phenomenon is known as shifting goals. Okay, so what happens? You make a goal. Okay, that goal is achieved, and then you shift that goal. So the goal is achieved, and you realize that you wanted to become a principal or a director of an organization, or you wanted to become a professor, or you wanted to do PhD, and you realize that you have achieved it. Some people, unfortunately don't even achieve what they desire. But some people achieve it, and they achieve more than that. And I'm sure in this group there would be many, those who never thought they will reach to that position, and they have reached in such a short time. Now, but what happens? After that, you again realize, oh, this is not working. I need more, bigger. Why? Because your non-material need is not getting fulfilled, and you have only amassed a material thing, and then you change your goalpost. Okay, so we keep on changing our goalpost, and that's what we call growth. Okay, and that's what people called, you need dissatisfaction to grow, while it is other way around. You need satisfaction to grow. In fact, satisfaction means growth. Okay, finally, satisfaction means growth. So, and then you can be much more meaningful, useful to the society, and feel much better in yourself. And that's what phenomena is known as shifting goals. People keep on changing their goalpost. Now the important part, what is the way out? So what is the way out? Okay, how to get out of this? We are facing every day. Knowledge is the path to get out of it, which means true understanding of the self and true understanding of existence. As I put some example, we have our own beliefs which are not matching with the reality. The belief like students don't respect, the belief that bigger house, bigger car, bigger position will give me respect. These are wrong beliefs. We have not verified them. That's what we call rat race. People are running towards it and we are also running, and we don't even see that those who have reached or those who have conquered or those who have won the race, what is their status? Are they feeling fulfilled? And you will be amazed that suppose you want to become a principal, okay, go and survey 5 principals and they will say, my God, I was good while I was a professor, while I was a lecturer. So much of headache has come with this position. I'm not saying all will say that, but there would be good number of people. And then please change your desires. You have made desires just because of the rat race, not realizing what is the outcome of the desire. Okay, what has happened to run that race, what you have done to your relationships in the process. So basically the knowledge, what you need to know is that human being is made up of 2 entities, body and self, I and body. And our most of the efforts are just we are putting on to fulfill the need of the body, and the need of the self gets neglected in the process, or the non-material needs gets neglected, and that's what is becoming the problem to us. Okay, so please realize both needs are independent, both are important. I'm again saying that it's not that the need of body is not needed, but we are over emphasizing on that. And so then we need to create a balance. Balancing is very important for human being. Okay, that is why there are 2 types of needs. Material, the non-physical part is the self, the physical part is the body. Okay, now self is a non-physical and hence immortal. Okay, this remains forever. Okay, what is it that self is looking for? It is seeking justice. Okay, it is seeking orderliness. It is seeking values, which I said, respect and all that. It does the following non-physical activity. What is it that self does? Okay, so the hope, which we, the thoughts, the desires, understanding and experience, these are the activities. These are all non-physical activities. Hoping is a non-physical activity. Thinking is a non-physical activity. Desiring is a non-physical activity. Understanding or having conflict is a non-physical activity. Experiencing is a non-physical activity. Okay, so these are the activities of self. How to recognize self? What is the meaning of self? So we all have some hope, some or other hope. Okay, we all think, we analyze, we put logic. When I'm saying, you are logically analyzing what Ajay Bhai is saying, whether does it make sense or not. Okay, this faculty which does this analysis, okay, which does this, which has those logic gates, this is happening in self. Okay, this is a non-physical part. You can't touch your thoughts. Okay, similarly, these desires which we have, who desires? It is the self. It is I who is desiring. Okay, so this desire is a non-physical aspect. Who understands finally what is right, what is wrong, whether I should desire this or not? Is it a right desire or wrong desire? How to fulfill my desires? This is what is known as understanding or knowledge. And then once those desires get fulfilled, who feels elated? Who feels happy? Who feels joy? Who feels sorrow? Okay, this is the experience part of it. Now, another big confusion, or I want to highlight very important aspect: knowledge versus information. Information is not knowledge. Okay, we get confused at times, and that's why we see that more knowledge, more problem. When I ask this very simple question, in the society, knowledgeable persons are more in trouble or ignorant people are in trouble? And when I ask this question, I'll give you 30 seconds to think. Whether knowledgeable people are in more trouble or ignorant people are in more trouble. Who is more troubled? And most of you, 70 to 80% people say it is knowledgeable people, those who are in trouble. And then when I ask them Do you want your kids to get knowledgeable or they remain ignorant? And then they feel, oh, I want them to be knowledgeable, because it is not knowledge which is creating trouble. It is overload of information, and by mistake we say we use information to knowledge as synonym, which is not true. In fact, it is other way around. Knowledge means freedom. Knowledge means the one which brings joy, happiness. So how can it be possible that knowledgeable person is having trouble? It's not possible. Okay. So please, whenever you feel that, just think probably it is not knowledge. It is a load of information. Okay, because information comes from listening, reading, viewing materials. Okay, but then that to convert that to knowledge, which is the fourth step here, that information has to pass through the gate of thought. So it has to pass through analysis, it has to pass through logic gate, and then it has to pass through the desire gate, which is the imagination power. And once we feel that this information is useful, it can be implemented, it is for me, then it gets converted into action and behavior. And once it is accepted, the results of those action and behavior are as per our desire of happiness, content, bliss. Then comes the acceptance, and then comes the determination. Yes, I want to live like that. And that aspect is known as knowledge. So knowledge brings determination to you. Knowledge brings acceptance. Knowledge brings joy. So it is not happiness that brings joy. It is not information. Okay, information has to pass through to get converted into knowledge. So knowledge is always desired. Okay, information is used to boast or to tell others, to give unsolicited advices. Okay, however, knowledge is manifested in living, in action, in behavior, and the result of that is always happiness, joy, bliss, contentment, and so on. Okay, so knowledge is always, whenever you are in doubt, it means that is not knowledge. Desire of happiness only gets fulfilled which is backed up by knowledge. Okay, so unless it is backed up by knowledge, it doesn't get fulfilled. So when someone was saying whether to desire or not, please do desire, because it is a human, one of the activity of self. It is not possible to live without desires. Only thing we have to make a distinction to have the right kind of desires and to know the path how to fulfill that desire. So I have done my part, which could be done in this 1.5 session. We have 3 minutes left. So if any other question, I would be more than happy to answer that. Yogesh bhai.
Okay. One question: should parents fulfill all desire of kids?
Not at all. Not at all. This will be the biggest blunder. Parents are, they think that fulfilling all desires. That's what I'm saying. That knowledge will tell you that which are the right kind of desires. Because when your son is asking for a big mobile, or son is asking for a motorcycle, I know some parents, those who have fulfilled that, and then the son was not in a position to really how to make use of that motorcycle, and they met with an accident because he was driving at 120, 200, 180. Because see, what is he wants to get appreciated in his peers through material thing. You have to tell the kid that appreciation does not come this way. But the problem is with our parents, in the sense with us, who ourselves are trying to seek appreciation through material things. So it is very difficult to tell our kids that you don't go for a party, because when you want to celebrate your anniversary, you want to throw a party. And so he wants to throw his party on his birthday. And then we say, no, at my time, when I was young, my birthdays I used to celebrate at home. But that's a gone case. Now you want to celebrate. So basically, the problem is not with the kids. We are not resolved. We ourselves don't know how to fulfill our needs. and how can we support our kid? What is the right kind of desire? Beta, if you want to have a big bike, to get appreciated, that's not going to happen because it has not happened with me. You can give your example. Then how will it happen? That is more important. If you want to get noticed, appreciated in your peer group, listen to them, support them, become, how to help them. This is what you have to teach. And then if your kid becomes a troubleshooter amongst their peers, you see he will get noticed, then his desire of having more and more material will go away. So certainly this is not a prescription. One should not fulfill left and right all the desires of their kids. Anything else, Yogesh bhai? Our time is over, okay. It looks like, but anyway, yeah.
Okay, there is no related question, so we will stop here.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you, Ajay. Okay, participants, we will meet at 12 p.m. for the next shift. Thank you, Ajay, for the wonderful session.
I also enjoyed, so thanks to the participants.